This is a Hot Pie Original.
If you like Stops of Sabotage, check out another Hot Pie Media original, The Blueprint, brought to you by the Festive Kitchen, now offering comfort food hugs. Find them at www.festiveKitchen.com. Welcome, Maggie. We have Maggie Brooks on, my good friend, talking about online dating. Wow. Okay. Big subject. So,
dating.
Yes. And you have a story about how you got online, why you got online. We'd love to hear it. Please tell us.
I'd be delighted to share with you, Trish. So I was married for nearly 35 years. I liked being married. When my husband passed, I spent a few years kind of getting used to being on my own, and I always knew I wanted to be married again. So online makes the process more available. You know, the old days of having a cocktail in a bar, that's over.
Right.
So with technology and all of the online that's available, it doesn't shorten getting to know someone. It just makes more people available from a selection process. So my first experience of going online, I thought, oh, piece of cake, I could do this. What's the big deal? And I went on and literally was flooded, not to, be thinking so highly of myself, but I was literally flooded with profiles.
Sure.
So much so that I kind of freaked out, and I just shut it all down and went, well, I don't know what to do with all this, and how do you sort, and how do you pick, and what is, I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I did a little research. There is information out there. I had a few friends talked about it. I thought, okay, I'm much better prepared now. One of the things that I did is I went on several sites, and they're all a little bit different. So I think the first thing, before we talk about the sites, I think the first thing and I'm speaking primarily to women, because that was my experience, is you got to decide what you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You decide what you want.
Yeah. And you had a good strategy for that. Tell us about that.
Well, first of all, you got to decide, do you want a playmate? Do you want a travel partner? Do you want someone to go places and have dinner? Do you want to just play? Or are you looking for a life partner? And then with that, do you want to be married? I wanted to be married. I didn't want to date. I didn't want to live with someone. I wanted a full commitment, heart and soul.
There you go.
So that's what I knew I wanted. And as I approached dating, I thought, gosh, the first date I went on, somebody asked me, well, what's your story? And I went, blah, blah, blah. My story.
My story. Wait a minute. I know it. Yeah. I know it's here somewhere.
Something happened.
We're fine. You're fine.
Okay. Something happened on my end. Let me make you bigger here.
That's okay. Keep going.
Okay. So I can't see you, Trish. I don't know what happened.
Okay, hold on just a second. Jarrell Kinley, he's working on it. We'll edit this part out, Maggie. Okay, so the wonderful thing about being in the studio is that you always sound wonderful.
Good.
It's called editing.
I don't know where you went, sweetie.
Am I there?
No, you're not there.
I'm not there.
No.
Well, just pretend
I can see me.
Does she need to hit something, Jarrell?
And it keeps going back to, I'm going to unplug my phone. That way that doesn't interfere with anything. No, you're just not anywhere. Why don't I click on it again?
Okay. We can stop. We got time. That's fine. We can stop. You were talking about, let's just remember, we'll play back her last line, Jarrell, right? Okay.
Yes. I'm relaunching the meeting.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
Okay, he's got it. We're good. Relaunch the meeting. Fine. Okay, good.
Nothing. It just really helps to talk when I can see you.
Sure, of course.
I'm on Zoom. It says click allow. I've allowed numerous times.
It says launch meeting or something, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know.
And I've clicked it.
We're looking here. We're checking here. Jarell is checking.
We can start all over again. I can go back to
there. Can you see? I can see me now. Yeah.
I can't. I can see me in a little box, but I can't see you.
Okay. So what do we do about that, Jarell?
Want to start over?
I'm waiting for a professional opinion here.
1 second here.
I'm going to go back to email. I'll click on the other Zoom invite.
You think that would help?
Possibly.
Okay, let's disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Reconnect through the other Zoom, and
I just did that.
Well, you haven't changed on our monitors at all.
Well, you're gone.
Yeah, our video feed is still up on our end. Yep, still up.
Huh? What, Jarell?
I was just saying that we are, as far as I can see, we are absolutely still up.
Well, as far as we can see, we're up. So we're.
There you are. There you are.
Ah.
I kept clicking. It's kind of like dating. You just keep clicking.
Okay. All right. We're gonna go back. Jarell, give us the cue in for what you last said.
Okay.
I mean, this is high end filming, baby. I mean, we're doing it.
Look great, Trish.
Thanks, honey. Thanks. Lots of makeup.
Last cue was choosing people online, finding what works for you.
Last words were you said choosing people online, finding what works for you. So take it from the top, Maggie Brooks.
Finding what works for you is what's important. But first, you've got to identify what is it that you want. Do you want a playmate? Do you want a dinner partner? Do you want a travel partner? Do you want to live with a gentleman? Do you want to be married? I personally wanted to be married.
Right.
So having that as my end goal, I had been in business for my entire life. And I approached dating like a project.
Yes. Yes, I know that. I love that.
What's your goal? What's the end result that you're looking for? I had that. And my very first date, the man asked me, so what's your story? And I thought, my story. I've never really had to tell a stranger who we've decided, okay, we're going to meet for the possibility of being interested in each other, and tell my story. And then he said, so I'm the first one, huh?
He knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, yes. And he says, well, I'm really sorry that I'm the first one. I think he was hoping that I would have a little more experience so I could decide that he was it. And it was like, no, you are definitely not it. But this is good to know. I need to get my story down. So,
but one thing I remember too, in talking with you, is that you were very strategic. You wrote everything down. And I love that. And I want the listeners to hear that, because I think that not only clarifies it, but it keeps you grounded. And you can then do some kind of, is he the pros and cons? I mean, everybody's a mixed bag. We know there's baggage with everyone. However, where does he line up with my priorities? And do we share those?
Exactly.
So you were on goal. You were on target. You had a strategic plan. Yes.
I knew what I wanted.
Yes.
So yes, I wrote it down. The characteristics that were important to me, lifestyle that was important to me. I was staying in my area, so they had to be within 10 miles. I live in a lovely place. I was not going to uproot. And I continued with it. 2 pages.
Yes.
How I wanted him to feel about me, down to the fact of how I wanted that he had to taste good, smell good, feel good. To me, that critical from a standpoint of, for me, I thought those were things that were important. I wanted him to have a sparkle in his eye. I wanted him to have integrity, to be honest, to have had a professional background, and actually came to the conclusion I did not want someone who was retired. I wanted someone who was still very active in the business world, because they stay engaged. So those kinds of things, I made it very clear where I wanted to live, what I wanted my house to look like, how we were going to entertain, the things we were going to do. I wrote all of those, nothing about how we looked or, those kinds of things, because in my mid 60s, that's not important to me like it could be in your teens or 20s.
Sure,
I want the character of the man.
You wanted character.
So,
yeah.
I wrote it down and I reviewed my list daily.
Daily. So,
yes.
And when you say review, you read it, you looked at it, you refined it. What do you mean by review?
I read it and I would add to it. I see little things written in the corners or on the margins. I went, oh yeah, that's really important to me. Oh yeah, that's important to me. So I would add to it. And I also would spend some time reflecting, either in meditation or prayer, to really focus, to center myself, because it can be very daunting.
Yes.
To put yourself out there to meet men with the intention of wanting to have a lifelong partner. So you've got to be very centered in who you are.
Nice.
Because you can get bumped around out there and swayed. And, it's a sales game. It's a sales game. They're trying to sell you for whatever their purposes are.
Right.
So to discern, well, what do they want? Does it match with what I want?
Yes.
So
and how that brings up another good question. How can you tell real from false? How did you, was there a way that you came up with to ascertain, because we hear about the false statements online all the time, of course. And
yes, I had it. My first step was I went invisible. I did not want men reaching out to me. I decided I'm going to be the one choosing. So
interesting.
I set up the profile. You pay a little bit extra, very worth it. They call it incognito. So I can see everybody out there, but they can't see me. It's only when I click on them, then my profile becomes available to them. So that was the first step of discerning. Am I interested? Do I like what I read? Is there somewhat of a fit there? So that was step one.
Right.
The next step then is you go online and you communicate back and forth. Then you decide, well, that's gone well enough. I think we're ready for a phone call. So I always, this was, I made one mistake, didn't do it. And I said, boy, that wasted half a day. So you've got to make contact. And I'm private. I'm, single, and I don't want my address or my phone number out in public with strange men. So I set up a way to say, okay, I will call you at this time, and the call number will not be identified, but because we've set a time, you'll know it's me.
Interesting.
So,
wow. Yeah.
I don't know, it's star 67, some way, even on a cell phone, you can do that. So I wanted to be, they weren't going to be able to find me unless I wanted them to.
Good. Yeah.
So this was, again, a qualifier. If we set an appointment, if they picked up the phone, there's some integrity there.
Yes.
Again, I'm looking for someone who is professional. It's an appointment. So they pick up on time, check, that's one box. If they didn't pick up on time, or if I heard some lame excuse down the road, no, you're out. Why would you want a partner that didn't have integrity to be able to keep a phone appointment? You're going to spend the rest of your life with them. So that was number one. Then we would set up a face-to-face, and I could pretty much tell just in their presence, how they walked, was there a possibility there? And I also decided that I was going to learn something from every encounter.
Nice. So what disappointments and challenges did you encounter?
The challenges, it takes experience. It takes time. I would say you're not going to meet them right out of the box. In my case, it was someone I met very early, the man that I'm engaged to marry. So it is a happy ending story, ladies. I met him early. I really liked him as a man, as a person. And I said to him, I know we're going to be friends for the rest of our life. That's how much I like you. But I need more experience.
Yeah.
I've been married a very long time. And I actually said to him, let's just stay on a friend path and set the romance aside. And I said, I need to date a lot of men. And I felt that was important, because how can you choose? It's like going to a buffet and go, do I like this? Do I like that? Do I like that? And sometimes it's nice to take a quick walk through and see, oh, they have chocolate. I love chocolate. I'm going to save room for that. Did I want a world traveler? I had traveled a lot, so I wanted someone experienced there. They had to be affluent enough to provide the lifestyle that I was accustomed to. That was important to me. I needed a man that was athletic. So those were all the qualifiers that as I went through, I could tell by what kind of books did they read. That information's available online. Emotional health was important to me.
Sure.
And that became more and more evident. What did they tell the truth? Did you hear or see a pattern of behavior in either their text or their communication or in their phone, or the stories they told? So you got to pay attention.
Well, and what I'm hearing too, Maggie, and what you were so good at is that you took it on as an investigative process.
Oh,
it wasn't just play. It wasn't just fun. It was, you had a goal and you were a personal investigator. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And and as you went through, you qualified and dequalified people based on your own goals. So
exactly.
How did you negotiate with people, with men, once you met them? What, how did you keep talking? Did you go into seeing them? Was there a length of time that you kept texting each other, or how did that all evolve for you? I know it's different for everyone, but.
Well, in the selection process, I kept really good notes. Because
you took notes.
Oh, yes. I took notes. Again, just like I was in a business meeting, and I'd have my legal pad and my pen, and I would take notes.
I love that. Okay.
And I had a color code on things, because I would print out their profile and I would highlight the things that I thought, oh, I'm going to talk about this. And I would, again, probe. And was there continuity? And if there was, then we continued. And if I met them and I thought, oh, okay, then we'd agree to date. And because I approached it as this is what I'm looking for, it was kind of easy to dismiss the ones that you could just tell no, and some would be right up front. I'm just looking for a playmate. It's like, well, I'm really not your girl. Or they're raising young children. Nope, I did that. That's that. You're out. I'm sure you're very nice, but that's not the lifestyle I want.
Right.
It might be, but for me, I had been through that season.
Yes, of course.
Those things continue to reveal, and then sometimes you just have to say, or it's mutual, or there are times when it's just so revealed. It's like, oh my gosh. This, I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, Thank goodness. So tell us the happy ending. We're all waiting to hear the happy ending.
The happy ending. So my fiance's name is Bob, and Bob was on the sidelines as I went through this process. I certainly did not talk about it. And he continued to date as well, which I thought was also very good. And we would go to the theater, we'd go to the movies, we'd go to dinner. But we got to know each other.
As friends.
As people. Yes, as people. He relaxed and was not trying to close the deal anymore, because he had felt very strongly that I was the one. And I just kept saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so then I got to see him for who he was as a person. And that's when I began to fall in love with him.
How lovely.
So it takes time. And
yes.
I caution women about the first blush of excitement. I believe it's a roller coaster, and you got to put your seatbelt on and hang on, because some of those feelings, you feel like a teenager and you go up and down. Is he going to call? Why didn't he call? How come this? How come that?
Right.
And you have to be, again, solid enough to be able to take that and not be needy.
Right.
I had one really good piece of advice from someone I consider successful with online dating. She said, always have three men at the same time at different stages. One you're dating, getting to know. One, you kind of decided he's on his way out. One, you're really kind of attracted to, but you kind of keep it's again, the funnel in sales. You keep the funnel full because men can also sense if you're needy or if you want them too much. I think it's important to be pursued.
Yes.
And that was another thing that was important to me. I'm not chasing a man. If he wants me, he better step up. Because why would you want a partner that wouldn't want you?
Exactly.
So again, you're always comparing that to your end goal of, is this who I want to live with? Do I need to chase him down? Do I need to make all the plans? Am I initiating the dinner reservation? So look at the behavior and compare it to, is this how I want to live?
Well, what you're saying that I think is so good psychologically is that, okay, number one, take time, know that you're going to have an endorphin rush, know that it's going to be fun and a roller coaster. And, you're in the greatest candy store of all time. But, you want to be discerning, but then when you really get to a point of wanting to make the decision, what happened with you? I mean, you obviously let go of everybody else. And how did Bob win your heart?
How did Bob win my heart? He was very sincere. He always shared what was going on for him. So he was very open with me. And I found that endearing.
Of course.
That he was so vulnerable to continue to just, say, you're my kryptonite, and that just melted my heart that a man could be so open and and willing to share himself before I had really said, we're on. And so my love for him started to grow, and I did make a decision. And absolutely, I know, when it was, the day it was, when I said, okay, he's it. And I was committed. And I didn't tell him for a couple of weeks. And we had not been intimate. He was clear that he wanted love before, it shocked the heck out of me. But again, this man had integrity and emotional health and honesty, and that showed through in many ways. So I decided, and the energy shifted. I made it be known to him in subtle ways. Yeah. And, I decided when we'd be together, and we've been in a committed relationship ever since. And
wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. It'll be almost 3 years since we met.
3 years.
And we went through COVID together, and he said to a counselor, we didn't have any distractions, and we really got to know each other. And we're so happy.
Yes. Yes.
Communication is key. I have to remember we all come from different backgrounds and experiences, particularly as we approach a new relationship, different season of life, and to talk about things so that I'm not bringing my past and projecting it onto him.
Right. Right.
That we need to be careful about.
So openness, authenticity, staying the course. You got to love Bob's consistency of knowing that you were the one for him, and just living that truth. And, you did what you had to do, and then you were ready to embrace that love and take it in.
Yep. I waited until I felt committed to him.
Yes.
And, he says, we're already married. I've been married to you for a long time. Like, that's interesting. Okay, well, I just got engaged to you. But yes, we've been committed for quite some time.
Well,
so holding the course, riding the roller coaster, being true to yourself. I think that's an important thing. Don't try to please anybody from the standpoint of adjusting who you are and what you think they want from you, because
I love that. Let's say that again. Yeah. Don't try to please anybody. Be who you are, because the truth is going to come out. And this whole thing about putting your best foot forward, holding the crippled one behind, and pretending that they're never going to see it is just silly.
It is silly.
But women do it. We do it all the time, so particularly with this kind of, what do I want to say? This kind of padding, which is what online dating gives you. It gives you a little bit of padding. Put it out there straight, and let the people who don't get it be gone.
Right. And tell your story, make sure that you're honest. In preparation for our talk today, I pulled my file to see what did I say about myself and is it still true? I went, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Here 20 years later, I went, gosh, you did a really great job. That is you. And this is how we live. And these are the activities we participate in. And he is the person that I want to do this with. And I thought, good job.
Good job, Maggie.
3 years later, and I recognized, that is me.
Good job. Well, much happiness, much. I mean, you were a model. I hope everybody listening who is hearing you is taking parts of this or all of it and saying, I'm going to start living this way because I want what she has, which is love and someone who adores you. So as you should have. So Maggie, thank you so much for being on. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Okay. It was a joy to share my story.
Yes, indeed. I'm welcoming today Miss Mary Kelly. Hello, Mary. Good to have you on. Hello. And Mary has been doing online dating. And I wanted to ask you to invite you to be on the show and tell us a little bit about yourself and why, tell us your story and why you got online.
Okay.
All right.
Shall I start?
You can. Yes.
Okay. Well, I was a very, very happily married woman for 30 years, but my husband died 2 years ago. And I just couldn't even imagine anything for the first year after I was in such deep grief. I couldn't imagine seeing any other men. But finally, after about a year went by, I thought, I am kind of lonely and I wouldn't mind having some companionship at least. And I'm sure that Don would want me to be happy. He doesn't want me to be lonely and unhappy. So a girlfriend of mine had told me about online dating, and I was very nervous about it, very worried. So I quizzed everybody I knew that was doing it, and they gave me some tips. And I struck out and signed up for a couple of them. I signed up for eHarmony. I signed up for Silver Singles. I was looking for the senior citizen sites because I'm 69 now. And it's been kind of a freak show, I gotta say. I won't say it was a great experience. I have a few happy stories out of it, but for the most part, it was extremely wild, weird, and crazy.
Okay.
Kind of a circus.
I know. But first of all, I want to hear about the challenges and the disappointments that you encountered. Okay. As you've been doing it for over a year now. Is that true?
Yeah. I've been doing it for over a year now. Yes. Okay. The challenges are, that you're just texting back and forth forever. And it begins to feel like a pen pal. It feels like you're never going to meet in person. And when am I going to actually have face-to-face contact with this person? Of course, trying to online date during a pandemic would not be my first choice. Because not only is it hard to get together, but then it's exponentially harder because everybody's afraid to get together.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to wear a mask and you're going to have to distance. So how will you ever find out if there's any chemistry at all?
Yes.
You won't because you're 6 feet away and covered up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So that was a concern. But so that was those were the difficulties I faced for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you face things like, is this person really who they say they are? Does this person really look like this? Is this somebody that's catfishing me? There's a lot of things you face that makes it very scary.
Yeah. Tell us what catfishing is.
Well, I didn't find out about catfishing till I was about a year in the process myself, because I am so dang gullible that if somebody flatters me and tells me that I'm pretty, they caught me. So they're fishing. They're fishing. They're literally fishing.
Yeah.
And they prey on widows, because when you sign up for one of these dating sites, it asks you if you're single, divorced, or widowed.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I would recommend that you just say single, because if you say widowed, then you become a target. I said widowed because it was true, and I wanted people to know I was grieving still.
Yes.
And that it would be, it would be a journey if they chose me, because I'm still dealing with it. And I didn't want to have any, I wanted to be transparent about that.
Sure.
So they look for widows, and they start in with just telling you how beautiful you are. And wow, don't you look nice today? And oh, wow, what a beautiful smile. Flattery, flattery, compliments, compliments. And of course, because you've lost your loved one, you are starved for this kind of male attention.
Of course.
Starved for it. So when it starts coming in, it's like, ooh, how nice. Somebody thinks I look pretty. Ooh. And especially as we get older, it's really nice to hear that.
Of course.
And so I got into a couple of rather long-term pen pal relationships with catfishers, and I didn't even know it. Now, what catfishers are ultimately after is money, but they take their time getting there. They really reel you in with an emotional experience, and they're pretty darn good at it.
Really?
They write these beautiful love letters. They compliment you, like I was saying, about in really nice ways. They talk about the things that they want to take you to see and do. And I mean, you're really it's very enchanting, and they're very good at it. And meanwhile, you have no clue that this is all a phone call from, Africa, Nigeria. So
or somewhere.
You guys are educated. I mean, they find these, young men doing this work. I think they're all probably college grads, and, they've probably got just like think tanks full of them on phones.
Fast.
And it's big business, because I've talked to a couple of women who really did fall for it, sent $10,000, sent $4,000.
Oh.
A typical thing is they get you completely reeled in. Oh, here's another thing I'll give you some tips of what to look for to not be catfished.
Okay.
So excessive compliments is first one. Secondly, if they cannot have a FaceTime or Zoom call with you, if they will not be seen in person, huge, huge, huge clue.
Interesting.
And many of them do not even want to talk on the phone because their English is not that great. And, you'll pick it up in the pen pal writing too, because the grammar will be wrong. The spelling will be wrong. The sentence will just seem wrong. And you just go, English is not their first language, clearly,
I see. Yeah. Interesting.
So you look for that. You look for discrepancies in spelling and grammar.
Yes.
And you also look for the fact that they will not talk to you on the phone, and they will not have a FaceTime call. Because they don't want you to see what they really look like. Because what they've done is they've mined the internet for good-looking men, pictures of good-looking men, possibly models, possibly just Joe Blow on the street, and they use that as their profile picture, and then they make up a profile that is going to sound appealing to us.
Sure.
So they find these ruggedly handsome men and good-looking, young, boyish, good-looking men, and way too good-looking, really, to be. It's like, why is this guy on the site? I mean, he could pick anybody out of any library room,
Yeah, exactly. And didn't you find two guys that both said that they were on Alaskan drill
things?
So
that's the other tip, which I didn't learn this until literally a year had gone by, is if they are working in some kind of situation where they're inaccessible, like they're on a drill rig for an oil company, or they're an oil mining engineer, or there's something that takes them out of the country, out to sea, and inaccessible by Zoom or Wi-Fi.
Interesting.
There's that. And also sometimes they'll say they're military, and that's also can be a giveaway. Anything where they cannot talk to you on the phone or on the FaceTime.
Yes. Okay.
So, and it wasn't until what I started to realize is there was more than one drill rig guy that I was interacting with. I thought, gee, that's really weird. I thought, what are these guys doing? Passing my picture around to each other? I thought that's what was happening.
Yeah.
So I wrote to the one guy and I said, are you passing my picture around? I've got another drill rig guy. And I even sent him a picture of the guy. I said, do you know this guy? I mean, that's what an idiot I am.
Well, no, you are not an idiot. But what I think you're saying is that what we have to really discern is the motivation behind what these men in this category, we're talking about, are wanting. Are they here to make money? Are they just looking, having fun, playing the game? Are they serious and authentic? And that's the tough thing, because most of the women I know who are online are not there to play a game. They're not there. They may want to marry someone who has some money, but they're not there primarily to get money. They're looking for love. They're looking for love in the only way through a pandemic in these times that it's available to them.
Right. Exactly.
So
So anyway, after about a year, I was talking to a friend of mine and interviewing her again. And I said, have you ever had several guys working on a drill rig? And she goes, no, I've never heard of the drill rig thing. And my daughter actually piped up and said, drill rig, that's a scam. I saw that on Dr. Oz. I said, what? Why didn't you say anything? She goes, I didn't know they were on a drill rig. She goes, that's the biggest scam going. And Dr. Oz did a whole show on it.
oh my gosh.
But if they say they're on it, that's the drill rig catfishing scam. It's famous. And here I am, totally falling for it, right and left.
Well, you and everyone else, and that's why we're having this interview, so the women who hear this can be alerted. But you were fascinating because you're so creative. You use this in a way to do what? Tell us about what you did.
Well, I finally started seeing it as hilarious. I started feeling like a victim, and I started thinking like someone studying this field. And I realized it's actually really full of hilarious material. I started writing some stories, and I started writing up some of these interactions I'd had with these guys. Like one of them, for example, we finally had a FaceTime call. We'd had a bunch of back and forth texting and then a phone call, finally a FaceTime call. So me, of course, I treat it like a date. I get all gussied up. I put on a pretty scarf so my face looks good and my, complexion looks good. Do my hair, do my makeup, put on red lipstick so that my smile looks good, and I'm there talking to him, and I make the mistake of saying, so what are you interested in? And he begins an hour monologue on fishing. He talks about fishing for a solid hour. And I'm sitting here going, for this, I got all dressed up. Never said one thing about me, never asked me one thing about myself.
Oh,
never even asked me anything.
yeah.
And finally, I thought, what does he think? He signed up for a fishing site?
But you know what I'm alluding to? What did you do with these experiences?
Well, so I wrote that one up, and I thought, this is funny. There's some funny stuff here. And I was taking an online script writing class, and I started thinking, I might have an idea for a TV show or something, a series. So I was thinking I'd write up a synopsis of a TV series and try to pitch it or something. But as I started writing, it started coming out as a play, as a theater play. And what it was is 4 women living together in a home, kind of like Golden Girls, remember in the old days? Golden Girls,
yes.
Where they're in Miami. But it's in modern times, and they're all baby boomers. So they've had super checkered pasts. And they're into a lot of very wild things. And one of them actually owns a cannabis store because it's like Golden Girls in the age of cannabis stores.
And it's all about dating online, or at least part of it.
All 4 of them are doing online dating. And so I started using all this material as, meat for the play. And it just started coming out and cascading out. Pretty soon I'd written an entire 3-act play all about this stuff that I had been going through for the whole year.
I'll buy a ticket.
This is really topical. This is really fun. I want to see if I can get this produced. So that's my next step, is to see if I can find a theater company that's willing to do it.
I'll come. I promise. I'll come.
Well, I want you to be in it.
Oh, I'll be the one on cannabis. That'll be fun. So
we're all doing that.
Okay. So you had some disappointments, and how did you then start to be able to tell the real from the false, the true people from the untrue people?
Well, basically is when you start to realize that they will not talk to you. And finally, I would just say, I'm not believing you are who you say you are. So I'm going to block you. And I would turn them in. I would turn them into the dating site.
Really?
That I was suspicious of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a real person. I think it's a fake. I think it's, a scam. Well, and I don't know if they took him off the site or not, but at least I felt like I'd done my part to help other women not fall for the same guy.
Well, and the other part of that I like, and I think you had mentioned earlier when I was talking to you about this, is that there were some people who were getting massively sexual with you very early.
Category. Yeah. There was some that start out. I mean, I think of those as predators or, perverts.
Right.
There's also a bunch of guys kind of trolling around just wanting to be nasty, nasty, nasty.
Yeah. And you can turn them in. And they do take them off.
I do turn them in. I definitely do turn them in.
Yeah.
I turn in the ones I think are catfishers, and I turn in the nasty ones too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, one guy started right out just really, hardcore suggestions. And some of them, I will admit, were a bit of a turn on. But this is, not the right place, not the right time.
Yeah.
I don't know you. It's way too early to even bring anything like this up.
Right. Interesting. Good. Good for you. So but through all this, you have not found Mr. Right yet, but you have found some people who have become friends. Tell us about that.
Some darling friends. Yes, I have found some wonderful friends. And really, truly, I've been very grateful to find a couple of just men friends.
Yes.
One is a creative friend. He's a musician, and he's just very stimulating to me and inspiring to me. It's making me want to learn guitar, making me want to learn harmonica, making me want to get back to my piano that I learned as a child. And it's bringing music to me in a big way at this time in my life. And that is giving me so much joy. I can hardly believe it. I'm taking 2 singing classes online. I'm taking guitar lessons from him. And I'm just having a ball with it. And I'm going to start a band.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
And the name of the band is The Bad Grannies.
The Bad Grannies. I love it.
Name. That name is all sewn up. No one can have it.
Oh, good. All right. Well, you have certainly used some of these experiences to your benefit. And so from at this moment, and you're not done yet, Mr. Right may show up at any moment. But would you say that you would do this again, knowing what you know?
I actually am still doing it. And I have an interesting guy that I've just recently met that's already progressed to talking on the phone every day. And we're going to meet next week for the first time.
That's exciting.
So I'm really excited about that because this one is actually going along in sort of a wholesome, natural way. Before that, I was telling everybody I'm going back to old school ways. I'm just going to meet them in bars.
Yeah. You have to wait for the bar to open up, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, but the positive outcomes you've experienced is having friends, and you've kind of enjoyed the process. I mean, although it's been disappointing too, there's been ups and downs for you with this whole thing.
Exactly, sure.
Yeah. And
the process has been quite enjoyable. And it certainly gives you something to think about.
And to do at night, right? To come home and see, who's next. Yeah.
Yeah. The people to talk to. And, they said these dating sites send you, especially when I first got on, they were sending me like 500 people a day, into my box. And
too much. Yeah.
Through them because I'm going to do this with integrity. I'm going to look at this as something real for me. So I look at each one of them. I figure at least I can do is read their profile, look at them, see if. But first I go through the faces though, and I go, would I kiss this person? And that's how I decide whether to look further. And if I think, yeah, I could kiss this person, then I look at the profile.
Nice, interesting. Yeah. Well, we all have our criteria, right? Okay. So the positive. What?
Some of them you write off, you never would.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's true. I'm sure. So the positive outcomes is that you've gotten a friend, a really dear friend who you'll have forever. You've written a screenplay or a play that you're going to produce. You've come up with a new musical group called the Bad Grannies, and this has all come out of this experience for you.
It's true. It all has. It's been very fruitful.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this potential that you're going to meet next week, and hey, mazel tov on that. Hope that works out well for you. Well, thank you so much, Mary. You are such a joy, and I love that you've used the experience creatively. I love that part because it can be. I think online dating is the best. It's like Dickens, the best of times and the worst of times.
Yes.
Yeah. It can be so, you can get so elated and then be so disappointed. You've handled all that with grace and creativity. I don't know how many other women have written a play about it. So I think, well, they'll come to yours. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you so much, Mary Kelly.
for asking. It's been fun. Really fun.
It has indeed. I am here with the amazing Anna McCoy, and we are going to be talking about a little bit here before we start something else about online dating. What was your experience, Anna?
Absolutely horrible. It was terrifying. I was like, what is this?
What happened?
I can honestly say, you always have those girlfriends who think it's time for you to start dating after these life events of divorce and so forth. And of course, they got me around the table. And this was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Tinder was really popular. I had no idea what Tinder was. I was quite a Tinderoni. And I opened it up, the first 20 seconds, and I just started screaming. I was like, oh my God, what the heck? What is this? Oh my God. This is horrifying because as I began to swipe right or left, mine was a bunch of lefts, and I could only see images of people in the faces. And to me, it was very terrifying. Like I couldn't make the connection with this person being safe, trusting, all of that. All I could see was just a bunch of not horrible looking people, but I was just terrified of it. And I'd shut the app down, deleted it from I didn't know anything about it, but deleted it from my phone. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
That was the end of it?
That was the end of it. Then I bumbled and fumbled over Bumble. What is it called? Bumble, right?
Bumble, yeah.
So a few years later, I got enough, I moved into this little place where a lot of little people, it was more active. And I thought, well, maybe I could meet people in this particular area, right?
Yeah,
Had a lot of restaurants. So I downloaded Bumble. Then I got scared. I was like, oh, I'm still scared. So let me switch from trying to find somebody to date to actually developing social relationships or business relationships. Well, that didn't work either because I was absolutely horrified. I don't think I'm going to meet anybody that way. I think I'm going to meet the person in the world somewhere because I never got over. And then my final chance, my final opportunity was Facebook dating. This was the funniest and most recent.
I didn't even know
After 5 years of divorce, one of my friends was telling me, you should just turn it on, just swipe it on, move that thing over, And I was like, okay, let me try it. Then these people started coming in. And I'm in the Austin area, and so this one guy, immediately the two of us matched. And, that's always really cool when somebody picks you and you pick them and you get a match.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh my God. And he was a judge in Georgetown. I was like, well, that's probably about my speed. You know what I'm saying? And okay. Then he said, how are you? And I said, I'm fine. How are you? He says, I'm okay. What's going on with you? I was like, I'm done. I deleted the app. I'm done. I didn't know what to say after that, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I just went silent on the guy, and he went silent on me because he probably didn't know what the hell he was doing either. So at the end of the day, I just deleted all that stuff and just refocused my attention just to grow
somewhere
just
else.
To be something else.
Yeah. It just didn't
hopefully
feel,
it'll try.
Right.
It wasn't authentic for me. And I couldn't show up. I don't know how people saw me in that image. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to give too much information about myself, connect on my social medias. I would feel like I was being stalked or watched and not authentically met. Right. So for me, online dating just wasn't my thing.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody has their experience for sure. Yeah.
So I'm done.
Got it.
So you better be out there somewhere.
He is.
Better walk past the path. You know what I'm saying? He's
coming your way. And
not in a hurry. Let me just say that.
And the truth is, a lot of times, is that you meet him when you aren't looking.
Yes.
I mean, yes. I met my husband on a bus.
Yes.
In Alaska. I mean, for goodness sakes. I know. How in the world does that happen?
It happens.
But it happens, yeah.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.